Hi there, how's everyone doing? So I did say that I'm going to be doing live videos every Wednesday. They're probably going to vary in time because I have different schedules. I mean, I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. I actually just took a counselling inquiry over the phone. But the purpose really is to provide you with counselling topics, counselling related topics. Maybe there's things, book reviews which are interesting that are related to counselling. And just anything really that I think you'll find useful. Now, if you're watching for the first time then, my name's Marianne Hanson. I'm the owner and the counsellor at New Journeys Counselling. I provide counselling to couples. I specialise in relationship counselling, depression, stress and low self-esteem. And the main purpose of me making videos, I've got my YouTube channel, I've also got my Facebook page, I'm on Instagram, is just to put information out there. Part of it is getting visibility, because as any business knows, the more visible you are, the likelihood that someone's going to see your video or one of your posts somewhere and they may want to make a referral or pass you on. That's not the main reason I do it, because I just want to let people know that even without doing videos, you still can get referrals. It's about a quality service, and I know that I still get referrals. This is more because I enjoy making the videos and I like to provide you guys with information. So something that I talked about on the page and made a post about recently was about getting closure when it comes to relationships. Now, this doesn't just have to apply to relationships. Closure. Hi, whoever's joining me, thanks. We're talking about getting closure, particularly in your relationships. Closure for many people is something that they can't get. And there's just this massive hole or this massive feeling of, I need to know, I need to know. I know for a lot of my clients who come to see me, they feel that something happened. It could be 12 months ago, it could be years ago, and they just cannot put it to bed because they just can't get the closure that they need. For some people, closure might mean you just need to understand why a person has ended a relationship. Closure to someone else might mean why you go back and forth to a person. Why is it just sexual? Why does it never develop into anything more? You need to hear that from the person. Closure to someone else could be, you know, why didn't it work? And there's so many programs that are on TV at the moment. One Night with My Ex is a good example. Dinner with My Ex is something on YouTube where people, ex-relationships, even if it's been years ago, they're sitting down with these people to try and have a conversation and to get that closure. You know, they're willing to put themselves through hearing things that maybe they don't necessarily want to hear, but it just, they feel it will give them a sense of closure. So some of the reasons or things that could cause distress when it comes to getting closure could include, I've wrote this down. Hi, whoever's joining me online, thanks for joining. We're talking about getting closure. So I've put 4 things that could cause people to not get closure on something. Going on a date that you think went really well and you just don't hear from the person. Now, this has happened to me previously, and I know how I felt when you go on that date and you think everything's going fantastic, and then you just do not hear anything from the person. They don't say, you know, I just didn't, hi, thanks for the likes. They just say, I didn't, oh, I've got my notes here. Sorry about that, my notes fell on the floor. They don't tell you why they didn't call you back. You don't get that second date. I think this is a big thing that occurs to people. You just don't get that closure that you need. The second one is when you're in a relationship, things are going perfectly, things are going well. Maybe you've talked about marriage, the future and everything. And then the person turns around and says they're just not in love with you anymore. That is a big thing for people, that they cannot move forward then into new relationships. It holds people back because they don't understand. And I can imagine if you're in a loving relationship and, you know, you're spending time with your partner is telling you that they love you, you're making plans to go on holiday, to have kids, to get married, and then all of a sudden they just wake up and say, sorry, but I don't love you anymore, or I'm ending this relationship. You're not really going to understand why, because things were going so perfectly. Another thing could be if a person cheated or left you for another person. In particular, if they left you for like one of their friends or someone that you know, that creates a lot of distress for the person, because they're left wondering, was it something I did? Why did they leave me for this other person? Does it mean this other person is better than me? So that can create a lot of distress also. And another thing could be something more, not as extreme as the others or as serious, just being stood up on a date, but saying that also being stood up at the altar. Now, can you imagine similar thing to a relationship that just ends out of the blue? You've planned your wedding, the person's been involved in the wedding plans, you've booked the venue, you're looking forward to it, and then you go to the altar and then the person just doesn't turn up. You don't hear from them, you don't get closure because you don't understand why. You know, there's so many feelings. So these are just a few examples of when people possibly want closure but don't get it. So what I'm going to talk about now is part of the reasons why people don't give someone closure, and then I'm going to talk about what you can do if you're in this position. And I'm also going to use a few of my own examples because I think it will just help people to get more of an understanding that it happens to everyone or lots of people. Some of the reasons people don't give closure. Now, my explanation of giving closure, and thank you for joining me online, whoever's online. Giving closure to a person means that you are clear with the person why things didn't work out, or you're clear with the person, you're giving them a clear explanation so that they can move forward or move on. Any person, this is my personal opinion, who doesn't allow closure for another person when they have the power to do it, there's a part of them that is fearful of the outcome. So these are some of the reasons someone would not just sit down with you and say, this isn't working and this is the reason you didn't get that second date. There's a fear of them facing their actions, so they don't want any response back. You know, we had a brilliant date, you never called me, you didn't text me back, what's wrong, you know, why didn't it work? If that person could easily give you closure by saying, look, I didn't like the fact that you said you don't want kids, or I just didn't like, I just wasn't ready. That would simply give you an answer, you know, but for a lot of people, they don't want to face that they call it confrontation, they do not want to face that conversation. It's easy these days for people to do the ghosting thing, you know, where they just meet someone and then they just have a good time and then they disappear. It's called ghosting, but it's part of it is fear. They've got the fear that they don't want to face the backlash. They don't want someone coming back at them and going, what do you mean? That's not true. So that's part of it. Another reason is, it's not cowardly, if you like, but it is, in a way, a weakness, a character weakness, because it's this thing of, why should I? You know, I don't have to tell this person why I've left. I don't love them anymore. I don't have to explain why I've left this marriage. I don't have to explain why I've cheated. It's happened now. You know, why should I say anything? There's nothing more to talk about. All of these phrases and the way that people use this is coming from them as people. It's got nothing to do with you. It's about them. So an example I want to give is that I recently went out for a night out and I was met someone. The person bought me a drink. We had a really good, I was with my friends. I was dancing with the person and I thought, oh, this is a nice person. They were coming on a bit too strong. They were saying, can I drop you home? I was like, no, I don't. I've only just met you. But I did give them my number at the end of the night. Now, as I got home on the early hours of the morning, the person texted me. Then they texted me the following morning. Then they proceeded to phone, text and message me, even though I said it's a Sunday and Sunday's my family day and this is what I'm doing today. So they already knew I was busy. Then they kept phoning and then the phone kept ringing and then had these pictures, images. They were sending me pictures of about 30 images. This is not a joke. I knew from that point that this is not the right person for me, you know. Now, years ago, I probably would have been that person who just ghost, you know, block the person, disappear and just don't say why, but just thought, whoa. Then I thought to myself, how would I feel if I was, hi, whoever's joining me, how would I feel if I was in that situation? If I thought things were fine with the person, but then they just disappeared. So that's what made me reply to the person. And I was quite clear. I sent a text and I said, I don't think we're the right people for each other. I even explained why. I says, I feel that even we've only met last night. You've been proceeding to send me messages, to send me pictures, to phone me, to message me. And I says, I feel that it's a bit too much. Therefore, I hope you find like the person you want, but I don't, you know, feel that this is going anywhere. Now, although I felt nervous saying that to someone because I also felt guilty, why are you just like not even giving the person a chance and blah, blah, blah. I felt good about myself because I'd given the person an explanation, and hopefully they can either think, well, I'm going to continue to do that with someone else, or at least they know why, instead of them having to keep phoning and texting and not getting a reply. So what I would say to people to end, kind of wrap this up, is if you're in that situation where you want closure, but the person won't give you closure, I'd just say there are 4 things that you can do about it. The first thing is just to accept the situation. There are certain people that will hold back closure for you because they want to have that power. They're never going to tell you why that relationship ended, and they want you to go into other relationships questioning yourself. They want you to feel that it was your fault. Because personally, if someone can give you an explanation, then that helps you to understand what went wrong. If someone is holding back that explanation, then they know deep down that you're going to be questioning, was it you? Was it something you did? So you can accept it. You can say, do you know what? This person is never going to tell me what went wrong. They're never going to tell me why they cheated. They're never going to say why they stopped loving me. Fine. I'll accept that I'm not going to get the answers. So the closure is you taking control and accepting that you're not going to get the answers. The second thing you can do is to empower yourself. That could be where you reach out to the person and you say, we had a really good date, or we had a really good relationship. I fell for you. I was vulnerable with you. I loved you. I just need us to meet. Can we meet and talk about this, or can you please give me some sort of explanation? Hopefully it would trigger some sort of conscience within the person that you need to know, and if they ever cared about you, hopefully they will then give you a response. Another form of empowerment could just be saying to the person, I know you're not going to give me the answers I need, so I'm happy to let this go. I wish you well. And you just leave it at that, but it still gives you a bit of power because you're telling them, you're not holding anything over me. I don't need to know. The third thing is to write a letter. Now, I advise some of my clients in lots of situations, whether it's been that they've suffered abuse, whether it's been relationships, to write a letter, but you're not going to give the letter to the person, but even though it's addressed to the person, you're writing a letter to get your thoughts and feelings out so that they're not in your brain. So instead of you walking around thinking, I'm a useless person, every guy I've ever met has cheated on me, so it must be me that something's wrong with, why did that person do this to me? I'm to blame. You're going to write in the letter how you feel. So the letter would be addressed to the person. You could put something like, that day you left me and you didn't tell me why has made me feel really bad about myself. I'm angry with you because you haven't given. So you're not sending this letter, you're writing it for you, but it's giving you power because you can either hold on to that letter knowing that if you wanted to post it, you would, but you're not going to, or you can burn it or rip it up after, but it's just to get the feelings down onto paper. And the fourth thing is to recognise that it's them who did what they did and you didn't do anything wrong. As I've said, it's back to choices. As a person, I take responsibility for who I am as a person. And if I know that I have the power to ease someone's suffering, even if it means that they're going to be hurt if I have to say something to them that they don't want to hear, my preference is always going to be that I'm going to give them that explanation because it means they can get the closure or possibly get the closure from it. Anyone that chooses not to do that, as I've said, it's down to them, their feeling of either control, or there's a fear of the backlash, or they're quite cowardly, or they just can't be bothered. So you probably need to just say to yourself, it's them, it's not me. They don't want to tell me what I want to hear. They don't want to ease my suffering in any way. They don't want to give me that closure. They just want to keep me sitting here in limbo. Don't allow that to happen. You just say, well, that's their problem. If they don't want to give me the closure, then they have to live with that. So, as I've said, for many of my clients, this comes up a lot. It's also come up for me in the past, where it can eat you alive, not getting closure. You can be sitting there thinking, why doesn't this person just tell me? What did I do wrong? Why am I not good enough? I've felt like that in the past. I mean, in my 20s, I've learned now to just, you can't take control over what anyone else does. You can only take control over yourself. So as I've said, thank you for the likes. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everyone. As I've said, I'm going to be going live every Wednesday with a different topic. If there's particular topics you want me to talk about on this page, then just send me an inbox. And also, if you want to make a counselling inquiry or a referral, you can also inbox me on here, or you can go to nujourneys@yahoo.com. Thanks everyone for watching. I really appreciate you tuning in, and have a fantastic day. Thanks. Take care. Bye.